Good morning. We are extremely pleased that you are here. It is good to come together for the purpose of co-creating. Do you agree?
Yes.
You are knowing what you are wanting? Really? How can you tell? How can you tell that you have an active desire? Well, it's interesting because sometimes you have an active desire. You've put it together over time. You've added to it. You keep thinking of more pieces of it. You've created a vibrational version of it. It hasn't manifested yet. You can't see it or hear it or smell it or taste it or touch it. No one else can see it. But it's an active desire within you, and that means everything, because life has helped you to focus your desire into being, and that's what creating is. It's where you take life that surrounds you, and from it you develop your personal preferences, your desires. You begin to clarify and identify how you like things. I prefer this more than this, and I don't like that at all, and I want more of this and less of this. That's what you're doing all day long. Life just keeps helping you to do that. So as you develop this desire, we want to call that desire already a vibrational reality. It hasn't manifested yet. You haven't stayed in consistent enough alignment with the idea of it yet for it to have manifested fully into your experience, where you can see it and hear it and smell it and taste it and touch it, and where others can too. But it is a reality that matters, that now you must find a way of lining up with, in other words, of being consistent about it. So as this desire now exists within you, you've launched it. Source has hold of it. Law of attraction is summoning to it. And all cooperative components are being gathered by your inner being, by the source within you, by law of attraction, because you are a creator. You get to choose these things, every detail of them. So here is this reality. It is a reality. It exists. But the question is, where is your mind and what are your emotions when you focus in the direction of this reality, this creation, this desire, this becoming? So someone said, when we asked the question, what does it feel like to have a desire? Do you like having desires? What does it feel like? Well, it feels exciting, someone said. That means you are vibrationally up to speed with it. That means you're not doubting it. That means you are expecting it. That means you feel worthy. That means you understand the laws of the universe. That means life is serving you precisely as you knew it would. That you would sift and sort, and you would decide, and you would launch this vibrational rocket of desire that would culminate in a vibrational reality, and it would stay there carefully tended while you add to it by the source within you who is holding it steady for you. You created it. It is your creation, and it will come to full fruition for you, provided you let yourself receive it. Jerry wanted to write a book. He wanted to call it Turning Thoughts to Things, because he sensed this vibrational reality. He had watched enough people hold dreams and line up with them and manifest them. And he had also seen people hold dreams and not line up with them and never manifest them, just painfully speaking of their hopes and dreams and goals and wishes, and never get closer to them, because they didn't change their vibrational frequency enough to allow themselves to be in the receiving mode so that they could get on the trail of them, so that they could notice the clues, so that they could be in on the delicious all day, every day, becoming and unfolding of their own desire. And so Jerry began asking us questions like, how do we create our own reality? If it is true that we do, then how is that so? And we began explaining incrementally, day by day, that you are vibrational beings even though you don't know it. You are so used to looking at what you have manifested that you think all the power is in what you can see and hear and smell and taste and touch. And most of you, we love you so much, you know what's coming next. Most of you aren't that good yet at holding a vibrational frequency unless you are seeing it, hearing it, smelling it, tasting it, and touching it. And then there's stuff that you are holding as your vibrational awareness that you don't even want in your experience. And so we began talking to you about becoming better selective sifters, better focusers, more aware of how you feel while you look at that and that and that, making more lists of positive aspects and spending more time getting into the appreciation mode. But then life just happens around you, doesn't it? It happens to you, it happens to others. And do you know that almost everyone you know is offering most of their vibrational output because of what they are observing? And you're not that careful about where you look. So most have a sort of mixed bag of vibration, and you are doing extremely well. Have you noticed? You live in an environment where there is so much well-being. The balance of well-being is enormous in comparison with what has been pinched off and not allowed. And so you continue as individuals and as societies to thrive. But you didn't come just to survive. You didn't come just to move through time. You came as source energy creators into this leading edge time-space reality because you knew it would inspire you to your individual desires, your unique and important desires. And you knew that once you launched those rockets of desires, that there was a vibrational reality that had a point of attraction, and that the laws of the universe were going to respond to that point of attraction. And we're here to tell you that you have a choice, that while your desires are expanding and evolving and becoming, you have a choice of lining up with them or holding yourself forever apart from them. You can't stop creating them. You cannot hold your vibrational reality back. It was so important to us that you know that we wrote a whole book about it. We called your vibrational reality your vortex. It's where the vibrational version of everything that you want is. But you've got to find a way of tuning yourself to the frequency of that. When Esther first began receiving us, the way that she did was she and Jerry sat in meditation every day for 15 or 20 minutes. And as she quieted her own mind by focusing upon her breathing, she softened her vibrational attention to anything and everything. She felt detached. She couldn't tell her nose from her toe. And in that detached, non-focused, not focused upon any problems, not focused upon any reality, not focused upon any isness, not focused upon anything that was vibrating. In that detachment from those attentions, those ideas, her vibration, because of absence of resistance, began moving in the vicinity of us. She began to feel the familiarity. She didn't know what it meant. She didn't know who we were. We didn't give any words to her yet. She wasn't ready to receive them. She was not yet turning those vibrations into thoughts, into things like words. She just knew it felt good. She just knew it felt free. She just knew it felt right. She just knew it felt like home. It felt like being who she really is. And so they meditated every day for about 9 months, every day, feeling the vibrational alignment with that. until one day she began receiving motion from us. Now, we'd been offering her thoughts for a while, but she was really determined to release all thoughts, even the ones that she was receiving from us. So we had to get a little obvious with her. We began moving her head. She liked the sensation of that. She told Jerry it was like flying. She liked that feeling of being in complete alignment and moving in that way. And then one day, after several days of her head moving at our intention, she realized her nose was spelling letters like the alphabet. And then we were off and running. That was Esther's first turning thoughts into things. That was her first conscious awareness that someone who felt good to her was offering something that was manifesting into movement. It manifested into movement of her body, awkward in the beginning. She has videos, you will never see them. And then it began manifesting into conversation as Jerry would ask questions and Esther would receive answers. Esther was not conscious in the receiving. She's interpreting at an unconscious level. She could hear the words as they were coming out, like all of you can, but she didn't have time to ponder them because they were coming in a sort of stream or flow. It's what you're witnessing now. All of you have the ability to tune in to the frequency of your source and receive the clarity of that broader knowing. That's all that is going on here. And so here we are, wanting you to understand who you are. You are source energy, and you were source energy before you came into this body. But the thing that most of you do not realize is that you were source energy before you came into this body, and the larger part of you still is. And that larger part of you is tending that vibrational reality that you have been creating all of the days of this physical life experience and even before. The intentions that you held are held as a vibrational basis. There's a vibrational basis of everything. And that's what man wants to call source. That's what man wants to call God. It is the culmination of all of that positive becoming over all of the beingness that we all have been or are being. So that non-physical part of you exists, and it has a point of attraction. Now, by that point of attraction, what we mean is that you is offering a vibration, and law of attraction is responding to that vibration. And since that vibration is all about love and all about what you are desiring, it's a point of attraction that is only what you would call positive. Here you are, focused in your own right, in your own personality, thinking about things, talking to people, noticing things, remembering things, imagining things, past, present, future. Your mind's all over the place, just as you knew it would be. And in all of that thinking that you are doing, blessed, deliberate, and sometimes not, focused, and sometimes not, physical creators, you are finding vibrational harmony or not with that source energy that is you. So when you launched the rocket that asked for more prosperity is being summoned to that vibrational point of view. But if you are not feeling happy about the idea of prosperity, if you are doubting it or suffering in not enough of it, if you're focused upon the absence of it, then without meaning to, you are holding yourself in vibrational discord with your own creation. And this is something that we want you to understand, because that is the only thing that ever gives you negative emotion. You think it's what somebody else is doing. That one's driving me crazy. That one is immoral. That one is doing wrong things. That one is bad in this way or this way or this way. But what's really happening is, whenever you feel negative emotion, you are out of vibrational sync with who you have become. It's important to understand that you will always be, we will all always be in the state of perpetual becoming. You cannot hold it back. So, in continuing with Jerry's question and passionate desire about how thoughts are actually turned to things, we want you to understand these things. You live in a vibrational universe, and you are vibrational beings, and everything around you is too, which means you are broadcasting a signal which you can control. But you've got to have some sense of what the control is. In other words, do you gather together in large groups and take a consensus and then do that? That's not working out very well, is it? Ask the Republicans or the Democrats. They're all failing at it. Go into any church or synagogue. Is that the answer? Well, while there are nice things to be experienced there, as they pit themselves against one another, claiming the only right doing, that's not the answer to alignment. That's not what you came to experience. You came knowing that there would be diversity, that there would be a lot of difference around you, and you blessed that idea because you knew that out of it would come your clarity of what you, the Creator, chooses to create in this meaningful life experience that is you. So you were born with this sensitivity, these senses to translate vibration. Your eyes translate vibration. That's why you see. Vibrational interpretation. Eyes, ears, nose, fingertips, tongue, all vibrational interpreters. But you have an emotional center that is your true vibrational interpreter, because that interprets the variance between the source that you were when you were born and that you have added to ever since. That source energy, God being that you are, that vibration and the vibration of you. For example, you've asked for much more money, and that non-physical part of you stands in utter prosperity with endless knowledge about avenues for you to realize, to turn those vibrations into dollars. You said to us, all right, Abraham, we accept that there's a vortex. All right. How do we get our money out of the vortex and into the bank? And we're going to talk about that all day here today. How do you get what you desire, what you have created? How do you turn it to something that is tangible for you? How do you make it manifest? How do you make it actualize? How do you get to see it? How do you get to enjoy it fully? And should you? The answer to that is unequivocally yes. You've come to create. You have come to turn your thoughts to things. You have come to experience the reality of this magnificent time and place. So, once you accept that you are a vibrational being, and once you accept that your emotions are letting you know the vibrational variance or harmony between what you've become and what you're doing right here, now you're off and running. Now you have guidance that will serve you all day, every day. We want you to know that the source within you not only knows and literally has become the liver of all that you have asked for, but your source, your inner being, also knows how to guide you along the path of least resistance, which is to say the path of most allowance, which is to say the path of least resistance, which is to say the path of most allowance, which is to say the path of least resistance, to guide you along the path of least resistance to what you desire. We would like you to know that if there is any resistance on your path, and there is, you put it there. Nobody else is putting any resistance on your path. All it is just thoughts you've picked up along the way that you've begun to practice that contradict who you really are and what you really know. For example, you are brilliant, but you may not know it. When you put yourself down and say, I'm inappropriate, or I'm not good at that, I don't fit in, the reason that those words, that concept feels so bad to you is because it is so off from the reality of who you are. When you say, good things don't come to me, the reason it feels so bad to say that is because it's so off. It's so not true at all. When Esther first began really chatting it up with us, she began to really like it. And in the early days, she said, good Abraham, now you can help me know who is lying. I know they are. You can help me know when they are. And we said, how would you like to proceed? Esther said, let's watch Judge Wapner. So people came in and told their stories, very different stories. Judge listened, mocked them, passed judgment, and then Esther said, all right, Abraham, which one of them was telling the truth? Because Esther thought the judge was nuts. Which one of them is telling the truth? And we said a better question is, which one of them believes what they are saying? Because in many cases they were telling two entirely different versions of something, and both believed what they were saying. Well, that got Esther's attention, because she began to realize that there is no way of sorting out the rightness and wrongness of anything, because your perspective makes what you get from it uniquely your own. And so to try to convince others to hear your side of any story is really a futile and foolish way to go about life, because they all think something different, because there are not two vantage points that are the same. And the more you try to convince them of what your vantage point is, the more you get out of sync with who you really are, because in that defending or justifying, you hold yourself vibrationally in discord. And so Esther said, well, then how do I know? And we said, it doesn't really matter if your opinion agrees with or disagrees with anyone on the planet. The only thing that matters is that you stay in vibrational concert or accord or harmony with you, with what you have created, with who you really are. So that means you got to care about how you feel. That means you got to think your thoughts slowly enough that you can feel which thought is the bugaboo that you've just introduced. That means you have to become receptive to your own emotions and aware that anytime, every time, 100% of the time, no exception, that you feel negative emotion, you are out of sync with the whole of you, and you have put resistance on your path. You've created your own stumbling block, and you are resisting the natural flow of well-being that would be there if you were not doing that thing you're doing that's causing you to feel the negative emotion. Don't you like knowing that? So then we began explaining to Jerry and to Esther that it's like a cork bobbing on the surface of the water. That's where your alignment is. That's where your pure positive energy is. That's where your connection to the source within you is. That's where that high-flying, good feeling, tuned in, tapped in, turned on. That's who you are. That's where you belong. That's who you really are. But there's stuff happening that you might be looking at. And when you look at something that gives you negative emotion, it's like holding that cork under the water. And for the time it's under the water, it does not feel good. But any time you can turn your attention away from whatever it is that's got your cork under the water, got your negative emotion coming, just let go of it by focusing somewhere else. And that cork will quickly bob right back to the surface, right where you belong. So we just want to say, as we're beginning this gathering, we want to talk with you about anything you want to talk about. That unless you're doing that thing you do that holds your cork under the water, or that introduces resistance to your path, you will be in the receptive mode, and source within you, who knows where you are in relationship to everything you want, will be constantly received by you. Sometimes you say, I would like it to be revealed to me, the path to all my joy and happiness. And we say, that path is constantly being revealed to you. The light is shining bright. It's not a question of whether source is revealing it to you. It's a question of whether you are in the receptive mode so that you are receiving it. You can't set your radio dial on 101 AM and hear what's being broadcast on 96 FM. The frequencies have to match up. And since everything is vibrational, and since your emotions are your tuner, this is not a difficult thing to do when you understand what we just presented to you just now. So here's your short quiz as a result of what you've already learned. Do you know that you are the creator of your own reality? And do you know that you are a vibrational being living in a vibrational universe? And do you accept that there is a larger part of you who exists, even though you can't exactly see it, you can sense it, even though you cannot see it, who stands in completion of all that you have become so far? And do you acknowledge that there is often, in fact always, somewhat of a gap between your thinking, your thoughts, your patterns, your personality, your attitudes, your moods, your beliefs? A belief's just a thought you keep thinking, and the knowing of the source within you. Is there a logical gap? And can you feel when the gap is narrow and when the gap is wide? Don't your emotions tell you all of that? Then you now know everything you will ever need to know, not only to receive all of the things in full manifested form that you desire, but to live happily ever after, not standing in pain over a desire that you can't figure out how to accomplish, but in eagerness of the unfolding of the path. Because we know, in the same way you don't want to eat all of the food that you will eat for the rest of this lifetime today, we know you don't want to. You do not want, especially not in this restaurant. You do not want to eat it all today. You do not want to eat it all today. And you don't want everything that you want to be introduced into your experience today. You want to savor it. You not only want to savor the end result, you want to savor it as it is unfolding. You want to savor it as it's turning all the way from the vibration to the thing. You want to feel the emotion that is the awareness that it exists. And you want to be in that happy receptive mode so that when you get an idea, you know you've received an idea. And you want to have the fun of following the idea, following to see where it leads, and watching another dovetail with it, and another, and another, and another, and another. You want to be consciously aware when those ideas start bringing you into rendezvous with others. You want to feel the rendezvous. You want to feel yourself immersed in the cleverness of the others. You want to feel the cooperative universe coming into place, giving you clues, giving you ideas, but most of all, giving you that sense of eternal flow. Because you see, you are creators, and Source has your back and knows where you're going and is flowing with you always. So if you just make the simple decision that you want to feel good, and you start reaching for the best feeling thoughts that you can find, so that you more and more consistently hold yourself in the receptive mode, oh then you meet this one, and you meet this one, and you meet this one, and you meet this one. You have fun along the way. You have clarity. Your ideas are flowing. Their ideas are flowing. You're having this wonderful time. You are manifesting these magnificent things, and you are standing in constant appreciation of this magnificent world in which you live, of which you have come, and in which you are creating your own reality. We are eager to talk with you about anything that matters to you. There is no order of business, and there is nothing that is off limits. But we do promise you such a comfortable unfolding that by the time you leave at the end of this gathering, you will have a very clear sense of who you are and what to do about being in the receptive mode, so that you can have the pleasure of consciously, deliberately turning your vibrations to thoughts, and those thoughts to rendezvous, and those rendezvous to experiences, and those experiences to manifestations of all kinds. This is an abundant universe, and it's time for you to get the clutter off your path. It's not that you will have a direct path, because the direct path is not always, sometimes you like it, not always the most delicious path. Because you know, the source within you knows everything that's in your vortex, knows all the things you want, and knows where all the things you want are in relationship to where you are in any moment in time. Relationship meaning physical proximity, relationship meaning vibrational proximity or emotional proximity. So sometimes you'll be inspired to a rendezvous, and you'll say, what's this about? This isn't what I thought I wanted. But it opens something that lets you know something more, that lets you know something more. And as you relax and trust that it is unfolding, and that it is unfolding perfectly, and then at the same time that you are acknowledging the rightness of where you stand, looking for things to appreciate right where you stand, you'll begin to feel yourself launching new rockets and new rockets and new rockets. So it works like this. So here you are sifting through the stuff. You know what you don't want. You launch rockets of what you do want. You know what you don't want. You launch rockets of what you do want. And those vibrational rockets become a vibrational reality that you are not a vibrational match to, not at first. But because you care about how you feel, you start reaching for more thoughts that feel good, and you stay off the thoughts that don't feel good. So if there's some subject that's really uncomfortable, don't try to make it comfortable. We said to Esther the other day, we really don't want you to sit and write a focus wheel until you like to eat raw fish. You don't have to like to eat raw fish. You don't have to eat grasshoppers either. You don't have to eat worms either. But Abraham, what if somebody gives me a bowl of worms? Shouldn't I be able to eat a bowl of worms and like it? Shouldn't I be able to do enough focus wheels that I'm in complete alignment with eating a bowl of worms? And we said, really, Esther? Do you really want to eat a bowl of worms? No, but I don't want to be resistant to anything. And we said, you were born to select. You were born to choose. Don't write a focus wheel to try to get yourself to like things that you don't want to like. That's not the point of this. This is not what the art of allowing is. The art of allowing is not making yourself like what everybody else wants you to like. The art of allowing is you getting in sync with what you have put in your vortex. Can you hear the difference in that? But that requires a willingness to accept the perfection and worthiness that is you. That requires you believing that you are source energy, and that source is aware of you, and that source knows what you want and is calling you toward it constantly. And so that's what we talk about all day, every day. You create your own reality, and it's supposed to be fun. What do you want to talk about? Lots of good things to talk about here. A lot of trouble in this room too.